It goes on and on and on. Remind me of everything.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my lecturer and all my friends. My name is Sharifah Nur Ainatira Betis Saifuddin. My matrix number is 20BB05011. Today, our group is going to present about our topic, that is Gharar and its prohibition in Muamalat, a case study in Islamic banking industry. Okay, let's move to the first slide. That is content of this presentation. First, we are going to tell about introduction of Gharar. Next, we are going to tell you about the current issue that relates with Gharar in banking industry. And last, there is conclusion why Gharar is prohibited and which verse in Quran or Sunnah that mention about it. And last is consequences of Gharar. In the world of Islamic finance, there are a lot of specific terms and concepts that you are going to need to know and understand in order to be beneficial in this arena. Whether you are a borrower or a lender, understanding the ins and outs of Islamic finance is absolutely essential. Then, you need to make sure and understand the Islamic rules of finance, also known as Sharia, and specifically how they are going to apply to you. One term that you are going to be aware of when it comes to Islamic finance is Gharar. Of course, all of you already know what is Gharar, but I'm going to explain again what is Gharar. Gharar has meanings that encompass uncertainty, risks, hazard, and deceit. For Arabic root, Gharar means deception, but in practice, the term is used quite widely. Gharar or uncertainty, making the transaction illegal in Islam because it will cause injustice to the parties involved. This is because the quality and the quantity stated in the transaction is not specified, and it is not known. Next, there is the types of Gharar. In Gharar, there's two types, which is Gharar Yasir and Gharar Fahish. First, Gharar Yasir. Gharar Yasir is known as minor or mild ambiguity. Why Gharar Yasir is called minor? That's because in Gharar Yasir does not cause the sales contract to be defective to the main components of the contract and necessary condition for the essential elements. For example, when we buy covered fruit like pomegranate, nutmeg, almonds, and so on. And the other example that can I give you is when you want to buy something, like when you want to buy Redo in the boxes, but you don't know what color in it. So it has Gharar Yasir that does not cause the contract sales to be defective, and it is permitted by the Islamic law and does not harm any party. Gharar Fahish can occur in several factors like shape, quantity, volume, weight, delivery time, price value, or payment method. For example, for the shape, you bought the round table, but when the goods it's sent into your house, what you get is the rectangle table. So it's not good, right? And in that situation, the Gharar is happen. It's Gharar Fahish. And the other example is the price value. The seller should tell us about the price value, whether the price is expensive or cheap, but they have to tell us, not to hide it, right? Gharar Fahish can occur in several factors like shape, quantity, volume, weight, delivery time, price value, or payment method. For example, for the shape, you order.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aina Azahra bint Azizul and my number matrix is 20BB05004. Okay, just now my teammate, which is Sharifah, has been explaining to you guys about the meaning of Gharar and also some types of Gharar, right? Okay, then let's go to the current issues related with Gharar in the banking industry. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, basically there are two issues here that relates with Gharar in the banking industry. Okay, and I will explain to you, and I'm sure these two topics at least make you guys understand and clear about our topic as well. So let's explore the first issue. Okay, so what is this vitamin azil? I'm sure most of you do not really know what is this term, right? So let me explain to you guys. Let me give you a brief summary of that. Okay, so vitamin azil, or in short form is BBA, is kind of home financing, just like what you see in the slides. Okay, vitamin azil, BBA is when you want to buy a house, but you do not have enough money, then you can apply for this home financing BBA. Okay, and you are given two options. You are be given two options, which you want to buy a house that is fully finished, and the second one is the house that is still in construction. Okay, so when about this type of options, okay, for the house that is already finished, it does not have any issues. I mean, like, it have an issue, but do not really have a big issue about Gharar. But let's focus on the house that is still in construction. Okay, for a house that is still in construction, you cannot confirm. Okay, you cannot confirm when the house will be finished, and is the house will be finished. Okay, I mean, when you buy a house that is still in construction, okay, there is a risk that the house will not be finished in the date given, in the due date that is expected to be finished, and it is also can cause that house to be abandoned, which means the developer will stop the construction. So when you buy a house that is in construction, you cannot confirm that you will get that house. Okay, so there is a Gharar here, which means that there is a Gharar fahish here. Okay, which means that when the house is being abandoned, you will suffer a great loss, injury, or grievance. Okay, so there is a little bit about vitamin azil. Okay, next let's go to the second issue. Okay, second issue is takaful and conventional insurance, right? Okay, so takaful, I'm sure most of you, I mean all of you, I guess, know which one is Sharia compliance and which one is not, right? And yes, takaful is Sharia compliance, while conventional insurance is non-Sharia compliance. But why? If I ask you why, I'm sure most of you will tell me there is riba there. Okay, there is riba element in conventional insurance, but actually there are other prohibited elements in the conventional insurance that makes it a non-compliant Sharia. Okay, and one of them is our topic, which is Gharar. Okay, so but do you know that actually takaful and conventional insurance is when you ask non-Muslim, they thought that it is actually the same. It's just that takaful do not have riba. Okay, but in terms of Gharar, there are three things. Okay, there are three things that are being focused on. Okay, for Gharar, and the first point is uncertain. Okay, uncertain in terms of non-occurrence event. Okay, and number two, uncertain of how much money uncertain of how much money needed to be paid to receive the compensation, and number three is uncertain of where do they invested in. Okay, so point number one and number two, I can explain to you guys. Okay, I will make you guys understand what is the difference between takaful and conventional insurance in terms of Gharar. Okay, for point number one and number two, I can explain to you guys based on the contract itself. Okay, for conventional insurance, the contract that is being used is contract of sales, which means that when we use contract of sales, it means that both parties that are involved have want something in return, right? They want something that they can get as a return. But for takaful, they are using contract of tabaruan, which means charity. Okay, that's what makes them different. Okay, and in conventional insurance, when I said contract of sales, of course, that I said just now, which means every party wants something in return. That is why those 2 points are being asked about when it comes for conventional insurance. They do not understand of non-occurring event, and also how much money or when do they will get their money. Okay, if suddenly they apply for insurance, they buy insurance, and then in those years there is nothing happen to him, alhamdulillah, but there is nothing happen to him, so what do they get, right? Okay, in terms of takaful, when it comes to concept of charity, have you ever, like, for sure when we are doing charity, we do not really expect anything as written, right? Because we expect pahala, we expect we will get the blessing from Allah. Okay, but in terms of dunya, we do not really expect anything as a written. So that is the difference between takaful and also conventional insurance. Okay, and number 3, uncertain of where do they invest it in. Okay, this comes from Sharia compliance status. Okay, so for conventional insurance, just like I said just now, it is a non-Sharia compliance. So even if they say they invested in a Sharia compliance company, we cannot be sure. We cannot be sure because why? There is no authority or organization that audited and controlled them. While for takaful, we know it is a we know that it is a Sharia compliance. So there will be authority or Sharia advisory council, something like that, to control and audit where do they invested in. So we do not have uncertainty. The uncertainty will be cut just like that. So that is why takaful and conventional insurance is different. Okay, and those 3 points are what makes conventional insurance is non-Sharia compliant. So there is all a little bit about Gharar in terms of banking industry. So I will pass the baton to my next groupmate, which is Aina Fakira, for her part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Aina Fakira binti Kamarisha. My number batch is 20BB05007. Okay, now we go to prohibition of Gharar. Why Gharar is prohibited? In Islamic finance, Gharar is prohibited because it runs counter to the notion of certainty and openness in business dealings. Gharar also can arise when the claim of ownership is suspicious or unclear. Second, Gharar should be avoided in commercial exchange contracts to protect the two parties from deceit and uncertainty because it leads to exploitation and injustice in the society. So the rationale of prohibition of Gharar is to ensure full consent and satisfaction of the parties in the contract. Without full consent, a contract may not be valid. Okay, next we go to consequence of Gharar. First, uncertainty of ownership and possession. The sale of an item that may not exist or is it not in the possession of one of the parties, and there is uncertainty about its future possession, such as the sale of birds and the unborn animals. Gharar also exists when there is no ownership or incomplete ownership, such as selling something owned by another person without authority. Second, inaccuracy of information. Like I said just now, the rationale of prohibition of Gharar is to ensure full consent and satisfaction of the parties in a contract. So, as we know that all Islamic financial and business transactions must based on accuracy and disclosure of all necessary information so that no one party has advantage over the other party. Okay, next we go to verse in Al-Quran that mention about Gharar. First, Surah Al-Baqarah ayat 188. ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. That means, do not eat up one another's property among yourselves by false means unjustly, nor give bribery to the judge, so that you may knowingly eat up a part of the property of others sinfully. Second, Surah An-Nisa ayat 29. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la ta'kulu amwalakum bainakum bil batil illa an takuna tijaratan an aradi minkum wa la taqtulu anfusakum innallaha kana bikum rahima. Believers, do not devour one another's possessions wrongfully, cheating, gambling, and other than that. Rather than that, let there be trading by mutual consent. You shall not kill yourself. Surely Allah is ever compassionate to you. Okay, that's all from me about prohibition of Gharar, and thank you for listening our presentation about Gharar.